Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the European 3-year-olds this season who I'm really excited for. And these aren't obvious ones. These are ones that are flying a bit under the radar. You know, ones that are really good 2-year-olds, might have had one bad run. But they're horses that I think are really exciting this year and could go on to win, one of these classics. And that aren't particularly high up in the market either for these races. Alright, so we'll start off with Zavateri. Now, for me, last season, Zavateri was genuinely one of my favourite horses all year. Just his attitude in general and his sort of grittiness in his races. He's just an absolute rock star of a horse, I reckon. And I really hope he can go on with it this year as a 3-year-old. So, we'll just look at his form real quick. Like, when he won that national stakes in a race with 3 Aylin O'Brien horses and obviously beat Gstaad in the finish, who I rate very highly himself. It was just like a ridiculous win, I thought. Like, crazy aura as well, especially from the Eve Johnson Horden yard. It's not like a gigantic stable. It's not a massive faction like you get with Godolphin or Ballydoyle. So it was just a really impressive win. And even before that, when he won at Goodwood, he was carrying more weight than everyone else and he still won. Just an absolute try and just a phenomenal attitude that Zavateri has, I think. So we'll just look at his run in Ireland in the Vincent O'Brien National Stakes. And he was under the pump from a fair way out as well, but it just goes to show he's just such a trier. And I really hope he wins another Group 1 this year. I think he's going to go straight to the 2,000 guineas. As you see with these elite 2-year-olds, he'll go straight there, and I really hope he runs a good race because, as I say, he's such a likeable horse. Should be very interesting. All right, move on now to the next horse, A Boy Named Susie. Now, kind of a late developing 2-year-old by Star Spangled Banner. So you'd think maybe like a bit of a sprinting miler type. But his last start in the Criterium de St. Cloud, I think that's the 2,000 metre race. I think that's what it's called. I know it's that race. But he ran an excellent race there. It was a very slow tempo. And Mikhail Barcelona took some initiative and, made a bit of like an early move on him. And he ended up running second behind Pierre Bonnard, who is, the number 1 seed for the Derby for Aylin O'Brien. So, ultra respectable run. And I think with him, they'll probably go like a blue ribband stakes at Epsom, then to a Dante, and then to the Derby. I think that's probably the route with him. Although to be fair, I think I heard the other day, Donica O'Brien said that he was going to go to the Guineas or like a mile race or something, which I don't fully agree with. But he's the trainer and I'm not, so that might be the move. But I think he's more of I think he could be a Derby horse, to be honest. We'll just look at his run here behind Pierre Bonnard. Yeah, the 2,000 metre Group 1. I thought he stuck on really well this day. It was quite a big jump up in grade for him as well. Obviously, Pierre Bonnard being too good is a very good horse. But yeah, I thought A Boy Named Susie ran very well on this day, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on, and I think they should go to the Derby with him. Alright, I'll go to the next one now. Aylin. Beautiful chestnut filly by St. Mark's Basilica, and obviously owned by 2 of the biggest factions in world horse racing, in Al Shakab Racing and Ammo Racing. So, this is 1,000 guineas. I reckon they'll go straight there. I think no stuffing around in I don't know, one of those Group 3 filly races. I think the Nell Gwyn. I think they'll just go straight to the mile, straight to the 1,000 guineas. She's very nice. She ran okay in her last start at Longchamp behind a really top filly in Diamond Necklace. But the start prior, I thought she did a lot wrong, and she still ended up winning the Mayhill Stakes at Doncaster. We'll just look at that race real quick. She did a little bit wrong, but David Egan's a very good jockey, and he really got the best out of her this day. In second was Pacific Mission as well, who I'm going to mention later in this video, because I think she's very nice as well. Yeah, Aylin, won that race at Doncaster. They went to the Group 1 in France. Didn't quite work out, but I think she's going to be a really nice filly going forwards, and I think she's one that could improve a lot in the 1,000 guineas. All right, so next horse, Gstaad. Now, to be fair, I didn't really want to mention Ballydoyle horses because they're very obvious. And obviously, there was that Aidan O'Brien yard tour the other day. So, they're in the spotlight at the moment. But I still feel like Gstaad's not getting the respect he deserves. By Star Spangled Banner, so you kind of think he'd be like a sprinter miler. But the way Aidan O'Brien was talking about him, outlining the Cox Plate as a target race for him, which was kind of unusual, but it makes you think he's going to be like a mile of 2,000 metre horse. Maybe 2,000 metres will be sort of at the end of his tether because, as we know, like 2,000 metres at Moonee Valley, I know they're changing the track and stuff, but it's more of like a miler. Like, if you're a good miler, you can probably win the race still type thing, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, I really wanted to mention him because I think he's flying under the radar. He's not being mentioned as much as horses like Puerto Rico, some of the other ones. Just struggle to remember some then, but his win at Del Mar in the juvenile turf was just ridiculous. I thought, like, ridiculous win. I get it, like he was a short price favourite, but it was just madness. He was drawn so wide, missed the start. We'll look at this replay. Widest of them all, misses the start. I feel like Sumion wanted to go forwards, but then realised it was kind of out of the realms of possibilities. So then he went back. Somehow didn't get keen from that position. I think he was 3 wide like the whole way. And then going into the final turn, like he's still trucking. Like look, he was way further back. He's trucking the whole race. Then hits the front. The second horse is a nice horse in stark contrast. Good American 2-year-old, now 3-year-old obviously, but just a ridiculous win. I feel like it's like that doesn't get spoken about enough. That was a mad win, I thought, by Gstaad at Del Mar last November. So I think he's really nice. And as an Aussie, I really hope they do send him to the Cox Plate at the end of the year because we haven't seen like a proper, like good overseas horse come for a Cox Plate for a while. I don't think so, or at least one like an Irish one, like one of Aidan O'Brien's. Like I remember, Aidan O'Brien's only got like 2 Group 1 wins in Australia. One of them's Adelaide, who won a Cox Plate. And I think it was like 2013 or something. It might have been longer ago, but we'll move on. The next one, Royal Fixation, really nice filly. I think she'll be like a Commonwealth Cup type horse. I think they'll go to like a Sandy Lane Stakes beforehand to give her a run. She looked really nice last season. She obviously won the Group 2 Lothar Stakes at York, beating America Queen, who's a very nice filly in herself. I almost put her in this list, but there are other horses I wanted to talk about more. Another thing I like about Royal Fixation is she's gone from Ed Walker, who is a great trainer, but she's gone from him to Carl Burke, who is notorious for getting the most out of these progressive sort of fillies, especially, that transition from a 2-year-old to a 3-year-old. There's not many better in the game than him at, finding what these horses are good at and, really getting the best out of them. So, yeah, last seen running third behind True Love in the Sheevely Park Stakes. We'll just look at her win at York. As I said, beat America Queen, who's very nice, and then Flying Comet, who subsequently has won in Dubai. So, she's beat some good horses here, and she looked really nice. The way she hit the front there and, really powered on from the back. She's going to be really nice this season, I think. And as I said, Commonwealth Cup seems like a logical race to go for with her. All right, next horse is Narissa. Now, this is the only French horse that I've had in this list. I was really impressed by her performance in the, I think it's like the Marcel Boissac. I think that's the race for the fillies at Longchamp, the Group 1 over a mile. I was really impressed with her behind Diamond Necklace. She literally was out the back of the TV going into the straight, and she flew home for third. I think she's going to be like a, French Oaks sort of horse. I don't know that her breeding suggests like 2,000 metres, that sort of distance, but the way she finished off that day just stinks of a horse that, could be a good 2,000 metre horse. Might go all right over a mile, but that also might be too sharp for her, I think. So we'll just look at her run here. Just look at like green hat behind the yellow horse. Like she's out of the picture here. Obviously, Aylin and Diamond Necklace get first run. Aylin drops off. But look how well she finishes off. She just comes flying home. Super impressive, I thought. But, there's going to be so many good Aga Khan 3-year-olds this season. Like, it's going to be hard to separate them. But I hope she gets the priority of the fillies because she looks very nice. All right, go to the next horse. Revival Power. Owned by King Power Racing. Trained by Tim Easterby. She's very fast, very rapid horse. I think she's better than Lady Iman. I think she's more reliable. I also think Lady Iman was campaigned poorly last season. Like, I actually won't go into it because it actually annoys me, but it was actually like stupid campaigning, I thought. But yeah, Revival Power, she's very tough. I think she should go for the Gstaad Stakes this year. Obviously, it's a huge ask for a 3-year-old filly, but I think she's really fast. I think she's, carrying less weight than the rest of them. She could be a massive threat. I think they'll start off in like a Westow Stakes, that 5 furlong race at York. But I think, if she's going well enough, they should go for like a Gstaad or something with her, because she is very rapid, Revival Power. We'll look at her win in the Flying Child Stakes at Doncaster. She did very well here. I think that was Kansas finishing off behind her, but she looks really nice, Revival Power. So, yeah, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on her in the sprints this year. And I think as well, I think she's a 5 furlong horse. I think 1,200 might be too far. So, I think she's really, really built for that distance. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see how she goes. All right, the next horse I want to talk about is Oxagon. Now, he's by Frankel. He's a beautiful horse. He's a real tank, and has a real presence about him. I was a little bit disappointed with how he finished off last year. I thought, his win at Sandown was ultra impressive. Then he came second to Puerto Rico, which has aged very well. Puerto Rico looks very formidable. And then, he ran okay in the Dewhurst. He was all right. And then, obviously, didn't like the track at Doncaster. And, these 2-year-olds, like, they're still very young horses at the end of the day. And it might have been the end of a long run for him. So, I still think he's a really nice horse. And also, I actually had a theory about this horse. I thought, owned by Prince Faisal, trained by Jonathan Thady Gosden. I actually thought they might have gone to the dirt with him in the Middle East this year. I thought they might have gone for like a Saudi Derby, UAE Derby, as they did with Mishrif those years ago. Obviously, Mishrif, I think he might have ran in a Saudi Derby, but he won the Saudi Cup. So I thought with this trainer and owner combination, I thought, they might have, gone a different route, might have gone on the dirt, but no, they're going for the turf, and I'd imagine they'll go for like a 2,000 guineas, or maybe even like a Craven, then a French guineas. I think 2,000 metres might actually be his trip, obviously being by Frankel. Yeah, he's interesting. He just fell off a bit last season, so a little bit wary, but I think he's very talented. We'll just look at his, in my opinion, his best run last season. It was behind Puerto Rico at Doncaster. And obviously Puerto Rico, has gone on to win a Group 1 since, so, good form. And I think he was a bit buzzy on this day to the gate, so, he mightn't have been concentrating fully here, so I think he's very nice going forward, Oxagon. Alright, the second last horse I want to discuss is Pacific Mission by Lope de Vega. I think she's a real miler, this horse. I think she's a good 1,000 guineas horse. I don't know if she'll get much further than a mile, but she ran a very, very good race last start at Del Mar behind Valentina. It was, she drew very wide. It was a very patient ride by Colin Keane, but, there's levels. And Oisin Murphy got first jump on Valentina and essentially stole the race. But I think this field is really nice. Obviously, finished behind Aylin the start prior. And I think, being by Lope de Vega, like, she should, do better on soft ground. I think that's why she was such a big price at Del Mar, was because of the ground. I think there was a real question mark there, but she managed fine. She came second. And I think, she'll be a real 1,000 guineas sort of horse. Like, look at her, just back there on the rail in the Juddmonte colours. It doesn't really get clear air until late. But she actually looks quite classy. I think she's going to be really nice going forward. Obviously, an insane ride by Oisin Murphy on Valentina. Yeah, she did very well this day, Pacific Avenue, and I'm definitely Pacific Mission. There's another horse called Pacific Avenue that I think is a Juddmonte horse as well. Pacific Mission, yeah, I think that's the horse. That's the horse that I meant. I think I've been calling it Avenue this whole time, but I'm not remaking this video. Yeah, so moving to the last one. I know the video's European 3-year-olds, but I'm going to mention an American 3-year-old because I think this horse is really, really good. Cyfair. I think she was the champion 2-year-old in America last season. I think, or she was meant to be, but like, because obviously Americans, they love the dirt racing. I think an American dirt horse won instead, but Sci-Fair looked phenomenal in the juvenile turf sprint at Del Mar at the Breeders' Cup. Normally I'm quite critical of I Rattle Tees, but he got this absolutely right. It was a brilliant ride. And I think she'll head to the Commonwealth Cup this year at Ascot. I think with George Weaver as the trainer, he's sent a few over in the past and had success, like Crimson Advocate, who won the Queen Mary Stakes in 2023. Obviously, she was a 2-year-old. Sci-Fair's a 3-year-old, so I don't think he's had as much success with the 3-year-olds going over, but I think Sci-Fair is very talented. My only knock with her is that she might have been an early 2-year-old. She does look quite small in her win at Del Mar, so whether she trains on, I'm not too sure, but this win at Del Mar was something different. Like, she just looked amazing. You got Aspect Island, you got Brussels there as well. Like, I was really taken by this win, to be honest. She just won so well, and she does look very classy. So hopefully they really put her to the task this season, and hopefully send her to the Commonwealth Cup, because she looks very nice. Alright, that should be it for today's video. If you like this sort of thing, just like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be doing a Dubai World Cup preview, and I'll be talking about the Australian racing as well this weekend. So, like and subscribe. I'll see you later.